Alright, what's up everyone? It is Greg here, and today I'm going to be giving a tutorial on how to do SEO, how to rank a website or properties. Alright, so the way I teach best usually is I'll write down a few bullet points, as you can see right here, and I pretty much go off the cuff from there. So this video isn't planned besides a few bullet points. I'll read those and kind of take it from there. You know, I teach best usually just kind of going off the cuff. Alright, so a short history on me. I started internet marketing in 2006, had a decent amount of success, but then took a break. In 2011, 2012, I found out my son was on the way, kicked my ass into gear, and I started doing very well. You know, I've done millions in affiliate, profited with affiliate SEO. I've done millions in local SEO, so I've experienced with both. And I also co-founded a company called OMG Machines, where we consult people on how to build internet businesses. And my main job with that is how to do SEO. You know, we have well over 1,000 success stories, so we've had a lot of success teaching our students, and really a big part of one of my secrets is I keep things simple. You know, I'm really not that smart. A lot of people think I'm really smart because I've made money, but with SEO, the big thing is keeping it simple. You know, a lot of you watching this are probably way smarter than me. You got to almost kind of dumb yourself down with SEO and just kind of trust what I'm about to show you, okay? Because it's much easier than it seems and the people make it out to be. And if you follow what I'm about to show you in this tutorial, it'll make your SEO journey a whole lot smoother, I promise you, okay? The problem, again, most people have is they focus on way too many things, and there's a lot of sites out there like this that will give you the 200 Google ranking factors. You know, people are like trying to go through this list, and you know, I gotta get likes, and I gotta get shares, and I gotta make sure my tags are right, my categories, and you know, the site map this, and I gotta get some outbound links, and there's so many things that people try to do that I'm like, just wait, just, you know, back up, slow down. And I've pretty much been able to cut it down into 4 main things that I focus on for on-page, okay? So when it comes to on-page SEO, literally, there's 4 things I look at, and everything else I pretty much throw out the window until later on. You know, maybe I'll try to improve the look of my site later, or, you know, I don't know, try to make convert better and all that. But when I initially start a site, a lot of my sites look like shit, yet they still rank. And I'll show you that. I'll show you examples of that, okay? So before I go into these on-page rules, there's something I want you to remember throughout this video, and that is Google makes the hardest things to manipulate the biggest ranking factors. Okay? Now on-page, in a sense, it's pretty easy to manipulate everything on-page, but when you start adding links in, there's less of a chance that someone would manipulate on-page, like to benefit them. And I'll tell you what I mean about that in just a minute. But obviously the hardest thing to manipulate is links. And that's the most important ranking factor. As long as you get the basic on-page right, which I'm about to show you, and then you get your linking correct, you're going to rank. Alright, so let's start with the on-page basics. My 4 on-page rules. These are literally the only 4 things that I focus on when it comes to on-page. I worry about nothing else, and my site's rank, and I'll show you that, okay? Here's the 4 rules to on-page. Get your keyword either in your domain name or in your URL. Now, if you're starting a brand new site, obviously it depends on what type of site it's going to be. You know, is it a local site? Is it an EMD, or is it going to be an authority site? In some cases, you may not be able to get the keyword in the domain. That's fine. Okay, you can still put it in an inner URL. So you want to have it either in the domain, or if not there, in the inner URL, because that's the most important on-page factor is the domain. Domain's number 1, inner URL would be number 2. Okay, the next biggest place to put it is in the title. Okay, the next hardest thing to manipulate is the title. Number 3 would be in H tags, and number 4, this is where a lot of people get it wrong, is they try to put keywords too much in their content. Content is not that big of a ranking factor, okay? You do want to have your keywords in your content at least a little bit, but that's where I stop. I put it in a little bit, I underdo it, if anything. Don't overdo it, because these 3 things are what take care of majority of the on-page. This just kind of finishes it off, and there's no reason not to put, you know, your keywords in your content a little bit, because it can help, all right? Now, people may be looking at this and they'll say, well, all these things are easy to manipulate. What are you talking about? Well, as you start building a site and progressing a site, these things get harder to manipulate. Okay, so let me just give you an example. Say I got a website and you know, I'm trying to make it relevant for Barbies. Okay, it's on electronic cigarettes, but I'm trying to manipulate something. I'm trying to make it relevant for Barbies. How easy would it be for me to go into my content, add Barbies in there a few times, and what's Google going to say? Oh, well, this site must be about Barbies. It's in the content a few times. The point is, content's very easy to manipulate. Most people who read the site probably, they may notice, but they may be like, maybe that's just a mistake. Like, it would probably be looked over, right, when most people visit that site. The next hardest place to manipulate on the scale is the H tags. Again, I could probably fit into an H tag without people being too weirded out, but they still, that's kind of next on the list where they'd be like, why does he have Barbies, you know, in his article? It's much easier to see. An H tag's bigger, so it kind of describes the site more. So someone comes to my site, and again, remember, it's an established site, a bunch of people are linking to it, and because when you throw links to a site, it's completely different as far as manipulation goes. Why would I be putting Barbies in H tags when it's about electronic cigarettes? All right, you get my point. Harder to manipulate because it's now a trusted site, and why would I do that? All right, so that's why it's hard to manipulate. Next place is title. Again, if I have a trusted site, why the hell would I put Barbies in my title when no one's coming there for Barbies, right? They're coming there for electronic cigarettes. If they see Barbies in the title, they probably won't even go to the page. So again, that's kind of the next hardest thing to manipulate when it comes to on-page. Last thing is URL, and especially domain name. Who the hell is going to go to a keyword barbies.com for electronic cigarettes? No one's going to go there, right? The point is, all these things are easy to manipulate, but as far as would someone manipulate them, it goes higher on the list. You know what I mean? Like, as the site progresses and gets more trustworthy, as people are linking to it and stuff, they're less and less likely to try to manipulate these things. And really, domain would be pretty much impossible to manipulate unless you use a 301 redirect. So that's why domain is the biggest, URL is next, title, H tags, and then content. Okay, content is definitely the smallest, but it's very easy to get all four of these things correct. All right. Now, one thing I always try, I'm going to give you some examples, by the way, of this working. I'm going to show you ugly sites ranking and all that. But one way to that I like to do this is, let me just give you an example. Say I am getting the domain bestelectroniccigarettes.com. Okay, and the reason I tell you, because I've made a lot of money with electronic cigarettes. I'm deep in that niche. I've been deep in that niche, so I know it well. But let's just say I get bestelectroniccigarettes.com. What I like to do is switch up my titles and H tags so I'm hitting different angles. You can call it LSI, latent semantic indexing, I think it's called. Makes me sound smart saying that word. I barely know what it is. Basically synonyms, all right? So if I get bestelectroniccigarettes.com, I've got that keyword taken care of because that's in my domain name, okay? So what I like to do is I like to do little stuff like this where I'll do, in my title, I'll do best electronic cigarette, okay? So instead of best electronic cigarettes, and you could repeat it in the title. I mean, that's fine to do, but this is the stuff I play with. I'll do it a little differently in my title. So best electronic cigarette here, best electronic cigarettes here. Then in my H tag, maybe I have like an H1 tag, I'll do top e-cigarette company. So it's, again, an LSI version. Top instead of best, e-cigarette instead of electronic cigarette, and companies instead of brands. So I like doing things like that. And then, maybe I'll another H tag later. I'll do, like e-cig brands. So again, I'm saying electronic cigarette a different way. I'm saying e-cig, and then I say brands. And then sometimes I'll just say the niche name, right? So instead of saying like best electronic cigarette, I'll just say electronic cigarettes in an H tag, or something like that. But the point is, don't keep repeating the same keyword over and over and over. Like, don't have bestelectroniccigarettes.com, best electronic cigarettes, best electronic cigarettes H tag, best electronic cigarettes H tag, best electronic cigarettes. Like, say it in different ways. If you want to do it, like you could do this, it'll be fine. Like best electronic cigarettes here, because when you have brand name, you're going to do this. So you got brand name here, but then you can say it in different ways right here, right? So let me show you an example of this. Let's go do. So this is a keyword that I do a lot of playing with. I have hundreds of test sites, and I literally rank sites just to play around. With this particular keyword, I'm number 1, I'm number 4, I'm number 5, I'm number 7, I'm number 8, I'm number 9. And I probably have a bunch on the second page. But what I wanted to show you is, all right, so like with this site, I got Delaware SEO in the domain name, okay? Then I also have Delaware SEO in the title because that's part of my brand name. My brand name is Delaware SEO Guy. So I do have the same way in the title, but then when I get to my H tag, notice what I do. SEO here, Delaware over here. Okay, so I didn't just repeat Delaware SEO again in my H1 tag. Like, I'm not going to say it in my domain, in my title, in my H1 tag, in my H2, in my H3. I'm not going to keep repeating it. I might say it in my domain and title, and then an LSI in the H tag, in the H1 tag, and then for these down here, I just say like SEO, like the general niche, and SEO, the general niche, okay? But I don't keep repeating Delaware SEO over and over, all right? That's one thing you want to avoid doing. I do say Delaware SEO once here. I say search engines, which is like kind of like, LSI. I do say Delaware SEO again here. So actually it was pretty aggressive on this site, more aggressive than normal. But I don't do it for every H tag, as you see, okay? But my point is, switch it up. Again, Delaware SEO here, Delaware SEO in my H1 tag, but then an LSI version in my H1 tag. And then I might say SEO in a different H2 tag. Maybe I'll repeat it again in a later H2 tag. But just don't keep repeating the same keyword over and over, right? Very, very important. All right? So let's see, what else did I want to cover with here? All right, we'll come back to that. I'll show you some more examples in just a second, and I'll prove to you you can rank ugly sites. This site, I would say, is pretty ugly. I did do this kind of jumping map thing. I forget what the hell it's called, but I did do that here just as a test to see if it would help the site. I did, by the way, this is one of my many hundreds of tests I do. This didn't seem to improve rankings. I did this on a whole bunch of sites, and some are ranking great, some are ranking decent, some don't rank at all. Just depends on what else I did. But this didn't seem to be a factor for helping it rank at all. I mean, it can't hurt, but it didn't seem to be like a big factor for helping a site rank. But that's one of the reasons I had this on here, just to see if it would help. It didn't seem to help a ton. Even though it's number one, that's not why. All right. But, I mean, other than that, this site's not pretty. I mean, it has some pictures. The content's very general. Look, there's no NAP. There's no name, address, phone number, which people say you have to rank a local site. People come to the site and they leave because, why? There's nothing to do. There's no one to call. There's no one to email. There's no one to reach out to. The articles suck, so no one wants to read them. So guess what? They leave. Yet, it's ranked number one. Why? Because I got the right keywords in the right places with the right links going to it, and that's all that matters, okay? Now, of course, things like bounce rate can play a factor, okay? Things like click-through rate, in the search engines can play a factor, of course. Traffic can play a factor. But the main factors, 90% of it, where your keywords are and what your linking looks like. That's it. Okay, these 4 on-page things I just taught you, and then how you're doing your linking, that is the main ranking factors. Everything else, it matters. It builds up. You can focus on that later. But if you focus on these little things first, and your focus isn't all over the place, it's going to make it much easier on you. Because if I have customers that come and they try to spend 6 months building a site, making it look perfect and getting everything optimized, and they're wasting their time. Just build the damn site, focus on these 4 things, focus on your linking, and then you can fix the rest up later, okay? It's going to save you a whole bunch of time, effort, headaches, and money, and just everything else, all right? So please trust me on this. These are the 4 things you need to focus on for on-page, all right? Just show you some other ugly examples really quick. Tennessee SEO, this site, I haven't touched this in 2 years. We're number one again, keyword in domain. You don't always want to use EMDs, and we're going to go into this, but you don't want to always use EMDs. If you're starting a new site and it's a smaller site, you might as well get your keyword in your domain, okay? If you're starting a bigger site, like it's all about health, obviously you can't get your keywords in domain for all the keywords. Maybe you can get health, healthsite.com, you can get the general niche in there, but it just depends. But if it makes sense, if it's a smaller site, get your damn keywords in the domain because it's going to help you. All right. So obviously we're number 1 for this. Number 2, this is actually my site as well. Number 3, we're number 4. We probably have more properties on here. But again, the point is, look how ugly this site is. All right. And it's just a generic article. I mean, it's a couple pictures, a generic article I ordered probably on iWriter. There's no contact information again, no email, no phone number, no NAP. The articles suck. People come here, they leave, yet it's still number 1. Why? I got the right keywords in the right places, okay, and then my linking is correct, and that is it. All right. So even with this site, you'll notice like I did this 2 years ago, so I didn't do this completely the way I do it now. But even with this site, you'll see that I didn't even like do all the rules. I just had them in the 2 most important places, really. I just have it in the domain and the title, and it's still working. I got SEO in this H tag, but other than that, I didn't use my H tags at all, other than that. Then I just have it a few times in the content, probably more than I would usually have it. So really, those top 2 things are huge. domain and title and just a little bit in your content, whether it's H tags or not. But do it the way I showed you, all right? So let's go back now and just talk a little more about, actually, do I don't want to go there yet? Let me show you. All right, so you know what? I'll show you a few more examples. I know people like seeing examples. I'll show you 3 examples of sites that I showed over the show. Let me see where we're at with time, 15 minutes. So I'll show you these quick. These 3 sites I did over the shoulder series for our OMG members, which basically means that I took them, started the site from scratch, and showed them how I ranked it on video in real time. So, you know, video number 1, setting up site. Video number 2, here's the first, you know, optimizing the site. Video number 3, all right, here's the first link I did, blah, blah, blah. So they got to see these sites ranked in real time, which is pretty cool. So the first one's an easy one. I was to the SEO. This was 2016, I believe, 2016 series. Here's our site here, number 1. We're Facebook. And the idea with this one was to show you can rank multiple properties. So we're number 1. Here's our Facebook number 2. Our videos number 3. Our Yelp's number 4. Here's an OMG at number 5. And then here's our Twitter at number 6. We pretty much have the top 6 spots for that. And that's all on video for OMG. The next, and you'll notice, what did I use? An EMD, right? The next one we did was for Costa Rica sport fishing. And you can do that with a space or without a space for sport fishing. And you see we're number 1 organically for Costa Rica sport fishing, number 2 in the maps. And then, of course, it ranks for a whole bunch of other terms. But this all these steps are on camera and we showed our members. But the point is, same thing. Keywords in the most important places. In the domain, in the title. It's probably in some H tags, probably on the content a little bit. We'll go check it out. All right, so keyword in domain, okay, keyword in the title. And then look at this. I did this. This is a more updated site, so I did the way I usually do it. So I have keyword in domain here, keyword in title here. Then I have an LSI version in my first H1 tag. So instead of Costa Rica sport fishing in Costa Rica. Okay, and I like to do things like that with my H tags. Okay, and then right here, Costa Rica sport fishing spots. So that's an H tag. Costa Rica fishing. So instead of Costa Rica sport fishing, I did a different keyword in H tag, Costa Rica fishing. Okay. Let's go down a little bit. And that's pretty much all for my H tags. So there's not a ton of it. If you check out my content, there's not going to be on here a bunch. So that version, it's only on this page 1 time. Okay, so I'm not worried about getting my keywords on my pages a ton in my content. It's not important. Okay, as long as it's there a little bit. And this version is on here twice. That's it. Why? How can I get away with that? Because I have it in the most important places. In my domain, in my title, in H tag, maybe once in the content, and I'm good. The rest is due to the linking, okay? The last one I want to show you, it ranks for stuff like, you know, a whole bunch. Now, this is a different site. This is the 2018 site. And with this year, we wanted to pick it up a notch. We wanted to show how to rank an authority site. So this is my site here, Precision Mold Removal. You'll see we're number 1 in the maps. We're number 1 in organic. And it's a little different. Why? Well, and something we're going to go over, you always want to plan a site ahead of time, but I planned the site ahead of time. I know it's going to be an authority site about mold removal specifically, so I picked a domain name that had mold removal in it, okay? And then I take care of the rest of the SEO on the inner pages where I can. So I built up the authority of the home page. This is a different topic, kind of going down a rabbit hole, but I'm just talking about on page here. So I'm going to do a whole bunch of cities, right? So the city is going to be the inner URL, and I already got mold removal right here, which is why I set up the site this way. So look at my on page here. Okay, I got mold removal in my domain, San Diego in my inner URL. So I got pretty much my keyword in my domain / URL. In my title, I got San Diego mold removal. All right, and in H1 tag, I got San Diego mold removal. So I actually repeat it 3 times, which I usually don't, but it's fine. But then I got mold removal in San Diego. Okay. Other than that, you probably won't see San Diego mold removal on here a ton. Let's go see how many times it's on here. Yeah, it's only on the page once. Okay, but I got it in the most important places, so it doesn't matter. All right. But the big thing with this over the shoulder series we're doing this year is we're ranking it for a whole bunch of locations. So you know, San Diego is ranking right now. I think Los Angeles is ranking, which is the 2nd biggest city in the United States. Yeah, we're number 2 for Los Angeles, just under Yelp. I think Houston's ranking. Yeah, Houston, we're number 2 for mold removal. And again, we just started this site 6 months ago. It's just getting the basic on-page right. And again, for the on-page, that's all I worried about. Getting keywords in those 4 places. The rest came down to the linking, okay? All right, so let's go and go back here now. Let's see. All right, yeah, so what I want to talk about really quick, I don't want to go deep into keyword research because this is more a ranking guide, but I want to cover a few things about it because it is important. Number one is that, long tails, or let's talk about the actual keyword selection first. Always think of buyer intent when you're picking your keywords, okay? So, for example, when someone types in this keyword, how close are they to buying a product, right? So let's use electronic cigarettes, for example. I'll go down here. So electronic cigarettes. Verse, let's say best. All right. Now these are two very different keywords as far as buyer intent. Someone who types electronic cigarettes in, they could be searching for anything. They could be looking for facts. They could be looking for safety stuff. They could be looking for anything, right? They could be looking for anything. Stores around them. Now, someone who types this in, they're pretty much ready to buy, okay? They've pretty much done their research. They're looking for the best options out there, and they're probably looking to make a pick. Like, I'm trying to find the best one. Like, they're pretty far along in the buying process, all right? So always try to think of that when you're trying to pick your keywords. A lot of people, they make the mistake of just, I'm going to rank for electronic cigarettes, gets tons of searches, that's great. And I've ranked for this keyword, it doesn't make that much money. Something like best electronic cigarette, or best electronic cigarettes, either one, can definitely make more money than this. So just be aware of that. Buyer intent. How likely is this person who's typing this in to buy something? How far along are they in the buyer process? Okay. And again, like best electronic cigarettes 2018, long tail keyword, but it's very specific. They're looking for an updated list of this, which makes them really even further in the buyer process, right? So always think of that. The next thing is that long tails, what's important is that long tails convert better, okay, because they're very specific, but they also rank quicker. So be aware of that. And I always try to teach my students to do like a long tail progression. So we take electronic cigarettes again. Like if you're going after this key, now you're probably going after many keywords at once, but I'm just using one as an example. I should say this is like the main keyword you're going after. Go after something like the best electronic cigarette brands 2018 first. It's going to rank a lot quicker, a lot easier, and you can start getting some traction going, okay? And work your way towards the bigger keywords. So once you get this, start working on this. And you'll probably get this pretty quickly after this because they're very similar, just without done there. Then once you get this, work towards this one right here, okay? Then once you get this, start working on this one here and this one here. They're kind of the same as far as difficulty. But the point is, progress your way towards. And the other thing is, as you're working on this right here, it's going to help all these below it rank. Why? Because you have all those below it already in your keyword, in your long tail. As you work on this, you already got electronic cigarette brands in there. You already got best electronic cigarette in there. So it's going to help these two rank. So by the time you've ranked all of these two, guess what? This one's already going to be on page 3. It's right. You've already done a little bit of work for it. Then you can start hitting that one, all right? Same thing for a client. This is really important for clients. And always frame your clients as you're working for them. Explain to them, look, these longer tail keywords, they're going to rank fairly quick. These shorter tail ones, they're going to take a while. That's just the way SEO is now. It takes a little while to rank for harder keywords. Make sure you're aware of that. Then you can also show them results. Like you can rank this fairly quickly, right? You can rank the best chiropractor in Wilmington, Delaware fairly quickly. And you can show them results. When it comes to local SEO, it's very important. You go, look, I told you this was going to happen. You're on page 1 for this now. Look, I'm going to work my way towards the bigger keywords. It's going to take a little bit of time, but I wanted you to see that they'll be happy to see that you know what you're doing. At least this is ranking. And if you caught it ahead of time, if you let them know that was going to happen, it will do a lot for you. It will keep that client on a lot longer. It'll give them a lot more trust in you, okay? So that's a big tip that I always tell our customers with client is, start with the long tail, explain to the client what's going to happen, and then as it's happening, because this is really fairly easy to rank for, as it's happening, they're like, oh, okay, well, he said that was going to happen. I trust this guy. He knows what he's doing. And they'll give you a lot more time to start ranking for these bigger keywords, all right? So that takes care of keyword research. I don't want to cover a ton about that. The next step, it would usually come before you start a site, but I wanted you to understand all these on-page factors and, the fact that Google pretty much does their algorithm around how hard something is manipulated. I want you to understand all this on-page stuff before I explain this, although this step you would usually do before you even start the site. Or it's actually 2 steps, and that is always gauge your competition and then always plan your site ahead of time, right? So I'll start with the plan your site because that's kind of the easier one. I have a lot of students that come to me and they'll have a site and they start it and they're like, well, how do I work in this keyword now? I'm like you can rank for that keyword, but you made it a whole lot more difficult on yourself, right? So what I mean is, like, if I start a site in the e-sig niche, how big is that site going to be? Like, really do your keyword research ahead of time, do your competition gauging ahead of time, know what it's going to take, and know what you're going to go after. Because if I'm just going to cover like the best electronic cigarette brands, I can get an EMD or a partial EMD, and I know I'm only going after that niche, so it's going to be a small site. I'm going to go after the homepage, and then I'm good. Now, people who start that site, then they want to go after vaporize or like marijuana vaporizers or something like that. And I'm like, you should have thought about that ahead of time. You should have planned out your site. The site should, like, if you want to cover all of vaping, you should do vapingsite.com and then / electronic cigarette brands / vape pens / box mods. You can cover all the areas of vaping if that's your plan ahead of time. Just know that plan ahead of time. Well, if you're just going to go after electronic cigarette brands, good. You can do a smaller site. You can target more keywords in the domain name, and you can take it from there. It can be a smaller site, and that can be the plan. But if you're going to go after the whole niche of vaping, do the general niche in your domain name, and then you can it's a whole lot easier to kind of interwork those inner URLs, So I have vapingsite.com. I can set up, a location for my box mods, my marijuana vaporizers, my portable vaporizers, my disposable e-cigs. Like, it's a lot easier to branch off when you figure out the site ahead of time, okay? The other thing is gauging competition. Huge mistake people make is not gauging competition ahead of time, because they'll start like an EMD for a keyword that's dominated by super large sites, and they build 50 links to it. They spend a year on the site, and they're like, Greg, I'm not ranking. Why? I followed all the steps. And I'll go look at the first page, and it's all sites that have tens of thousands of referring domains. And there's certain niches out there where they want authority sites ranking. They call it YMYL. A lot of those niches, it can be littered by authority sites. And not to say you can't rank with a smaller site, but you got to make sure the juice is worth the squeeze, and that's part of gauging competition. So I want to give you a quick example here. Usually I have a tool. I don't know if it's going to work. It wasn't loading earlier. Let me see if it loads. You don't need this tool. Nah, it's not going to let me log in. So I'll show you how to do it the way most of you are going to do anyways. But when I make this post and I do the printed version of this, the text version, I'll show you what this does. It shows you the whole first page as far as domain authority goes, so you don't got to check one by one. I'll show you one about what I mean. So let's go here. Let's go to best shampoo. Let's do like best professional shampoo. All right. So someone will like for example, a customer for OMG will come and they'll say, "Oh my God, bestprofessionalshampoo.com is available. That gets 9,000 searches a month, and I know this is a great keyword." And they'll build the site, they'll spend tons of time on it, they'll build their links, and they come to me and they're like, I don't understand. I'm not ranking on. I can't get off page 2 or 3 or whatever the case is. And I'll do the competition analysis, and basically this tool right here, it's called the OMG Command Center. By the way, we make nothing off that. There's a tool in there that allows you to see all the authority of all the sites on the first page for a term. That's one of the main reasons I use this tool, but it just makes it easier to see. But that's what I would usually use to do this. It seems like it's down right now, or it's being slow. I'm not promoting this tool. We make nothing off it, so that's not the point of this. I just wanted you to know what that tool does, and when you see it in the forum, in the text version, you see a picture of this, that's what this is, okay? Again, I'm not promoting it. I'm going to show you the other way to do it, the way most of you will do, which is just looking up each site that ranks on the first page individually, all right? So instead of doing it all at once, and this way takes a little longer, we're just going to do it individually, because this is how most of you will do it anyways. So like the first site has a domain rating of 83. Okay, 30,000 referring domains. Not good. Not a good sign for us. Not so far, at least. All right, so these guys got a 59. They got 1,400 referring domains. Well, we already know L. Like a lot of times when I do this, if I'm doing it manually, like I wouldn't even look up L.com because I know they're a huge site. I've heard of them before, but they got 84,000, so they're obviously huge. The Cut.com, I can guarantee you they're big because they have a great domain name. They got an 83, so they got, what, 50,000, 32,000. Amazon, we know is huge. We're not going to look them up. Ranker.com. They got 79, so they're high. They're up there. 30,000 referring domains. Let's see what these guys got. Now, this is an unheard of domain. This gives us potential. Maybe they're a smaller site. They got 30. And they still got 400. So they got 400 referring domains. But that's a good sign for us. Okay? Bustle.com. They got 55,000. TotalBeauty.com. They got 13,000. And InStyle.com. 85. So they got 44,000 referring domains. So it's mostly high authority sites on the first page. The lowest is, what was it? The TotalBeauty.com. Okay. And I would have to look further into them. But let's pretend they weren't here. Because there's a lot of niches where it's like all site with thousands of referring domains. In that case, is going after this site worth it? Probably not. It depends on the situation. Maybe there's certain situations where it is worth it. And considering this one, you could probably get on the first page with a couple hundred referring domains with an EMD type site or keyword in domain, maybe even 100. But is that worth it to you? And that's why it's important to gauge competition. And again, there's a lot of keywords where you'll type in the keywords, and it'll be all sites like this that have 30,000 referring domains, 20,000, 50,000, and that's the whole first page. And people will come to me and they'll say, why aren't I ranking? I'm like, look at the first page, look at the domain authority, and it's all super high authority sites ranking. So always gauge competition. All right, now a completely different one was something I rank for, Delaware SEO, much easier. Okay, now all my links don't show because I blocked some of my links, but for the most part they do. But you'll notice the difference here. This is why I wish we had Command Center working right now, because you'd be able to see the difference in one big picture. 15 referring domains. Already a great sign. So if I'm going after this niche, this is already way better for me, right? Number 2 has 21 referring domains. I'm not going to check all of these. You guys get the point, I think. $42 referring domains, but you guys get the point. We're not seeing 50,000, 40,000, 10,000, 70,000. Like, it's a lot different, right? So the investment that I need to rank a site for this is much less than the one, and the risk is much less than the other keyword, all right? So always try to gauge competition, see who's ranking, and when you see all high authority sites on the first page, know that you're up for a battle and you're going to have to invest a good amount of money, and it's going to be a struggle, okay? And when you see something like this, know, okay, there's keywords I find that are really good keywords that are very profitable, where I'll see sites like this, I'm like, jackpot, that's it, and I'll make 10 sites on that keyword and go dominate the first page. So always do your competition analysis, gauge your competition before you start a site, all right? So for on page and kind of before you start a site, that's all that stuff. Now we're going to move on to linking. All right, so with linking, linking is definitely the hardest thing to manipulate, so that means it's the biggest ranking factor. And I don't care what anyone tells you, linking is definitely the biggest ranking factor. It's the most important part to ranking a site. Now, all that on-page stuff we went over, that of course is important to get the basics right, but it's very easy to get the basics right. If you follow those steps I laid out, you're good to go there. The next step is the linking. All right, now this part of the guide is a little harder to do because there's so many different types of linking, and it would take forever to explain them all and all that. So what I'm going to do is give you the most important parts of linking and show you kind of the most powerful ways to find links. And then from there, you can take it, and I think you'll get a good direction at least. All right. So one of the biggest things to remember about links, or to know about links, is that relevance is now extremely important. All right. So how relevant your links is huge. Okay, bigger than it's ever been. Even with a recent update, it's made it even bigger. Okay, so know that relevance should be your main focus. And I always tell my students, when you're building a site, when you're first building links, always focus on relevance first. Okay, don't focus on powerful links or this or that. Focus on building relevant links to start. Okay, so I'll start with local sites. Local sites, I always start pretty simply, and you guys saw examples of the local sites I built, some of those where they are ugly, and some of my local sites I'll start like that, where I don't care what they look like. I just follow those basic rules, put up a site, I'll start ranking it, and then later on I'll change things around. But the best way to start a local site after you get that basic on-page set up is to do citations. And my favorite place to get citations personally, you can get them anywhere, but I just think they do a great job. It's a place called brightlocal.com. I have no affiliation with them. I make nothing off any orders you would make from them or anything. It's just the company I like best for doing citations for any important site. So Bright Local is who I use for citations. They do everything for you, decent price. But again, there's plenty of places you can go for citations. One of my partners, he pays someone to do his citations, just like an outsourcer who goes out and does them individually. So I mean, there's many different ways to do citations, but for local sites, that's definitely the best way to start, is to start on citations. All right. Know that if you follow those on-page factors that we went over in the beginning tutorial, that it's going to help you a lot more with your citations. So, for example, if you have a keyword in your domain name, like DelawareChiropractors.com, or even just one of the keywords in there, it's going to help you even more. Okay, because why? It makes your citations a little more relevant. Hint, hint. Okay, so just know that relevance is a big thing when it comes to links, and that's where you want your main focus to be. When you start a local site, the first thing you should do is, after you get the site up, is build your citations. All right, that's the first place you want to start with local. Now, the other big tip that I want to give you for building links is diversify. Okay, so after like citations for a local site, for example, you want to start building different types of links. I get way too many customers, students that come to me and they went out and did a mass directory submission, where it's like they went out and they submitted their site to like 50 directories and they have 50 links. All the anchor text says website, and like all the directories are on the same IP or in the same network, and it's a mess. Okay, so always diversify your linking. Never do like bulk anything. Is the best rule to give for that. Do a little bit of maybe do a Web 2.0 or 2. Do a few guest posts. Go do a directory submission. Go do maybe a couple of forum posts where you get a forum link back. Go do a couple blog diversify. Okay, get different types of links. Do a couple article submissions. Don't just go out and do 50 directory submissions. Don't just go out and do 50 articles. Try to diversify. Okay, I found that to really help. Now, I'm going to show you my favorite way to get links, especially when starting a site, is that's analyzing the competition. So let me go to precision mold removal, because I've been using this a good bit on this site to build some of these links. So let's go take a look at these links this is the recent over the shoulder series, of course, for our students for 2018. But if we go to and by the way, these numbers are not updated. It's way higher than this. It's just Ahrefs, and I'll just show you really quick. Ahrefs hasn't updated a lot of our keywords since like July or beginning of August. And it's now September, so is that not? Why is nothing clicking? All right, whatever. You guys don't care about the ranking, so I'm trying to show you how to rank. I'm frozen here. Let me try my other screen. Why is nothing? Oh, there we go. Well, I might as well show you the organic keywords right now. As you can see, a lot of these are still from July and August. So this site gets a lot more than the traffic it's saying it's getting, and it's only about 6 months old. We started this when end of January, pretty much we started linking. So February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 7 months. About 7 months we've been into this link in the site. All right, but anyways, let's go to the backlinks. And I just want to show you some of the links I got. So we did some PBN linking. I'm not going to talk about that in this particular video. You know, we did some guest posting. You go out and get guest posting links from tons of different services out there. Guest posting is a great way to go. You know, we got citations. We even got comments. Okay, so this particular comment right here. This is not like comments is another big thing people go overboard on. They'll go out and do like 100 blog comments. I'm like, no, don't do that. But like this particular comment here, you know, it's a blog spot on water damage, which is relevant. And here's our link right here, precision mold removal, and we have a link from a water damage site. Now, the way I found this link was analyzing competition. Okay, so. And there's many different ways you can do that, especially with an authority site like this. I can go and look for anything mold removal related and just analyze the sites on the first page, see where they're getting their links, and then guess what? You steal their best links. Okay, steal their best links. Don't steal all their links, steal their best links. And that means they're relevant links. Okay, so analyze your competition and go and see where their what the relevant links are, and then see if you can get the same links. And that's how I got this link right here. You know, I could have typed in North Carolina water damage or North Carolina mold removal. And maybe there was a site that came up number one. I analyzed the site. I saw they had this blog spot. Actually, these guys are probably who I analyzed. Either these guys. I don't think it was these guys because they were after me. But I don't know. I probably analyzed these guys somehow and found they had a link about, you know, this. All right. So let's go to more links here. This one right here I also found from a competitor. All right, so I found a competitor. I saw this as a directory listing I could get for, you know, mold removal specialists. I added my site and bam, there's a directory link. Okay, but you can see I also have a diversified thing here. I had some PBNs, I had some guest posts, I had some citations, I had some blog comments, I had some directory submissions. Like I'm switching it up. Okay, I probably had the most guest posting with this, but I'm still mixing it up. All right, but again, so the point is, so for mold removal, I could go search for like general keywords. So I could go look for like mold removal expert, a keyword like this, and then I can, you know, analyze anyone on the first page and kind of see what type of links they got. Let's go look at these guys. They're number 10, but they probably still have some good links ranked for this keyword. So let's throw them in. And what I want to do is I want to see what links they have that I can get that are relevant. I want to only steal their most relevant links, though. Okay. So let's go to their backlinks. All right, so like this. What is this? I don't know, but it's talking about black mold, so it's relevant. So let's go to it. It looks like an article here or something. Maybe this is a guest post. So maybe what I want to do is reach out to this website, say, hey, how do I get a post like this on your site? How do I get a post like this? And just give them the URL. Say, I want a similar post. What do I need to do? That's it. Maybe they'll tell you, well, just write an article and it's free. Maybe they'll tell you need to pay $50. Whatever the case is, just contact them and see what you need to do to get that link. So what's next here? That one's not really relevant. It's not really talking about mold at all, so I'm going to skip that, skip that, skip that. This is about mold, but that's a citation. Here's a forum thing, talking about inspectors and water damage. That could be relevant, so you can go see how to get in that forum, kind of post about that. Citations, bunch of citations. Surprise, surprise. Citations are a big deal. Right here, you go see what this is. Looks like maybe a guest post or something. Okay. So that's my point. Just go look at your competitors' links and get the best key ones. If they're not relevant, skip over it. Okay? If it is relevant, see how you can get that link. And the thing is, people don't realize how far you can take this. Like I can go and look at any city and type in, I could go look at Miami mold removal. And I could look at all their links. I can go in thousands of different cities and analyze and see what links those sites have and try to steal their best links. Like there's thousands of different sites I can get my my links from. So let's go to these guys. They're number 1. My point is, like, people will try to analyze something like, you know, like they're trying to rank for San Diego mold removal. So they'll just go analyze San Diego mold removal. No, go analyze Miami. Go analyze Los Angeles. Go analyze Philadelphia. Go analyze general mold stuff like mold removal expert, how to remove mold. And just get links that are relevant to mold or mold removal. Okay. So again here, this is about mold, so it's moldfl.org. See if we can maybe get a link there. Maybe we can't, but maybe we can. So reach out to them, see if you can get it. And this takes time, but this is what works, okay? Looks like they did a press release. You can consider doing a press release. I usually don't do those till later on the site. That's just me, but you could do those. I mean, mold experts. Looks like maybe a post, a PBN probably, something like that. This is an article site, so you can submit an article here. Submit an article about mold, link back to your site. There's a link right there. There's an article, okay? So I think you guys get the point. One of the best way to get links and to build links is to analyze competition. And it doesn't have to stop at the keywords you're on as long as it's in the niche you're in. And for example, if I'm trying to rank for Miami mold removal, I don't just need to analyze sites ranking for Miami mold removal. I can look for anything on mold and find any links that are relevant to mold and go get those links, okay? So I think that's it for this linking section. You know, like you just diversify. Without going deep into each linking method, there's not much more I could talk about with linking. But just know that relevance is really king right now. And start with citations for local sites, and then everything else. Make sure you just you know, sprinkle in stuff and don't overdo any type of linking. Like, don't just go do 50 directory submissions. Mix it up, a little bit here, a little bit there. You know, guest posting is working very well. You can use that a good bit, and then that'll take care of your linking. All right, so hopefully you all enjoyed this tutorial. If you have any questions, let me know. We'll be posting this in the STM forum so you can go through it, but it should save you a ton of time, you know, especially with the on-page stuff. I know people spend months sometimes setting up their on-page. It takes me 20 minutes, you know, and it's done. And then I can move to my linking and I can take it from there, all right? And just be aware that ranking takes time these days. You know, it takes time to rank. Things are slow, especially for tougher keywords, so you got to have patience and stick to those 4 on-page things I taught you, and then link building, focus on relevance. Alright, so I almost forgot to cover anchor text, which is still definitely very relevant now. Now, my general rule for anchor text is start with branded anchor text, you know, name of the company, URL links. As you can see here with precision mold removal, I have this version with no HTTP, I have the HTTP version with a slash on the end, then I have the HTTP with no slash on the end, some inner URL, you know, I have the URL links for those. So I mix in a lot of type of URL links, especially when I'm first starting a site for a lot of sites, as you can see right here. Then I'll slowly work my way towards my exact match keywords with my anchor text. Again, we talked about it earlier in this series, when I'm doing, you know, when I'm first trying to rank a site, usually I'm going after long tails first and working my way towards the shorter tails. Part of that is using long tail anchor text first, a lot of times. It depends on what type of site you have, what type of keywords you're going after and all that, but a good general rule to follow is do your branded anchor text first, then long tail, and then move towards your shorter tail keywords. But of course, you can mix it up a little bit. For example, like this site, you know, I probably did some branded links, then I mixed in mold remediation, and I did a brand or another brand, then I mixed in mold removal, you know, then I did, you know, a couple branded, then I mixed in free mold inspection. This is a little different because I'm trying to theme this site for mold removal type stuff. When I power up the home page, it's helping my inner pages rank for those types of terms because I'm theming my home page for those terms. So in this case, you know, my anchor text may be a little different than if I'm doing an EMD type site. You know, if I was trying to rank my home page for like mold removal Miami or something like that, you know, I would do a bunch of URL links, and I may just do, you know, name of company dash the best mold removal company. So I may do like a longer tail anchor text, then go back and then work my way towards, you know, exact match anchor text, mold removal Miami or Miami mold removal. Okay, so it just depends on what type of site you're doing. But again, a good general rule to follow for anchor text: branded stuff first, focus on relevance rather than anchor text. Worry about hitting exact match anchor text a little later on. Okay, so build up the base of your site with the relevance in your links, branded anchor text for the most part, and then move on to the exact match anchor text later on. So hope you all enjoyed this series or this tutorial, and I'll see you around the forum.